Gaming is such a popular hobby and such a massive industry, and there's always something new on the horizon. Sometimes an overwhelming number of releases, the complexity of games, and especially the modern day prices. All of it can be a bit too much. A good alternative to help combat modern gaming is to simply take it on back. Dive into gaming's magical and plentiful past. Dive into retro gaming. So there's a lot to get into here, so grab a coffee, get cozy, let's talk some games. And don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate all of the support. We're almost to 1K. Let's get it. Anyways, retro gaming is pretty subjective. What may be retro to me may not be considered retro to you. There are so many systems, different types of games, and the bones that built modern gaming as we know it today. I grew up in the early 2000s, so my first gaming experience was Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1 at my dad's house. My older brothers had it, and when they weren't around, I played it all the time. So I grew up on a lot of games that were a little bit before my time, but also my gaming glory days consisted of the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, Nintendo's handhelds like the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo DS, 3DS, and even the PSP. I think I'd go as far to even call the Xbox 360 a retro console, to be honest. I didn't play a lot of shooters back then, mostly narrative and story-driven games. Back then, the games weren't online, at least not like they are today. The stresses of online gaming were absent. It was just us and the game. Much more simple. The closest thing we had to online gaming was couch co-op when our friend came over or we were playing with a family member. I remember going to my grandma's house when I was a kid and bringing my GameCube and playing games like Wind Waker, Animal Crossing, and Pokemon Coliseum, or even older PC games like Pajama Sam. If you know, you know. The nostalgia of the sounds, the controllers, the vibes, everything about retro gaming lives in the back of our minds in one way or another. We all remember that first game that we played, and I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it really contributes to what we play today. The gaming experience back then was just good. Maybe it was the less stress and, being a kid, but if that's the case, but I hope when I have kids, they can have a similar experience. I personally like to dabble into retro gaming when I'm in between games. As humans and consumers, we all like playing that new big game that just came out that everybody else is playing. But sometimes it's just a breath of fresh air to go back and play something from gaming's time capsule. It's a good way to save money sometimes as well. They felt more simple and straightforward back then. They felt wholesome, more genuine and comfy. You know what I mean. They just had that feeling that came with the time in which they were created. The music sticks with you. The graphics were still just good old video games, not hyper-realistic stuff that can barely run on a beefy gaming PC, or that will literally melt your graphics card. Not saying great graphics are bad, but it just doesn't hit the same as back then. There's always been tons of games available, so there's sure to be some hidden gems that we probably missed out on, or just didn't get to when we were younger. Retro gaming is something that is pretty accessible for the most part, especially nowadays with the technology we have, physically and digitally. Physical can be more expensive, but digitally can be obtained in so many different ways. Emulation is a godsend in the gaming world. Obviously on the legitimate hardware, the PC handhelds of course, and the other consoles and handhelds through some homebrewing and modding, and obviously on a gaming PC. I'm sure it's even possible to play some of these games on a smart refrigerator, if you really try to. But if you can get your hands on some of these games, or be lucky enough to inherit them from a family member or your household, you're in for a great time. I've been loving the older handheld revivals that have been going around on the internet, like modding the 3DS, the PSP, and even the PC gaming handhelds. It's just good to see people bring these older games back into the spotlight. It shows how great this gaming community really is. Collecting these games and consoles isn't the cheapest or even the easiest, but with an eagle eye and some digging, you can actually find some good deals on some good games. There's so many ways to find them. Online, at your own risk, at retro gaming stores, or even smaller scale sellers, like farmers markets or even garage sales. You never truly know what you'll find once you start looking. It's almost like a treasure hunt. Once you do find something though, that's when the itch starts. So be wise and don't blow your life savings away on retro games. There's always more ways to play them. By going back and playing some of these titles, you'll find that they're classics for a reason. They were the first games to do it right and inspire tons of the games that we play today. I like to think of Chrono Trigger, how it's basically the perfect JRPG, and how it's inspired so many games like the newer Final Fantasy games, Persona, or even Fantasio, Metroid, and Castlevania helped build games like Hollow Knight, Harvest Moon inspiring Stardew Valley. Seeing and playing some of these games will really make you appreciate them for what they are and what they help create. And these evolutions are pretty insane, if you ask me. I know this is a pretty general video for the most part, but I just think that it's so important to keep retro gaming alive and appreciate it for what it's done for us growing up and for the industry as a whole, and for the gaming community it's helped build today. And I plan on doing a couple more videos more focused on some of these retro gaming consoles like the 3DS or the PSP, so stay tuned for those. So if you like what I'm doing here or find any value in these types of videos, please give this video a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing if you like this kind of content, especially if you like talking video games, lifestyle, and tech. This community has been growing pretty rapidly, and let's just see how far we can take it. Be sure to leave a comment about what your favorite retro games are, and what kind of games or consoles are retro to you. Is it something newer than what I talked about, or older? Let me know. I'd love to hear about the games you guys all play, and maybe we can all discover one that might have flew under our radar. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one,